Oh, hello! Welcome to this lesson where we're going to be learning a little bit about how to use CAD software. CAD stands for Computer Assisted Design, and it's like how it's the software engineers or architects will use to design something, a 3D model of something, before actually producing the real good. They're pretty fun to use, and you could do a lot of interesting things with it. Specifically, what we'll be doing today is creating 3D models in TinkerCAD, which is a type of CAD software, and then we'll be exporting it to AFrame. And if we have a little extra time, maybe we'll try 3D printing it. But let's try it out. First thing you want to do is log in. You'll probably be using a student account. I'm going to use my educator account. Okay, and wait. Okay, let's see if I get that in. All right, here I am. And what you'll be doing is creating a new 3D design. So over here, let's say new. You want to do a 3D design, and I'll take you into this space. Now, there's a lot you can do with this. I'm going to show the basics. First thing is you drag and drop your shapes. So you'll see here. And once you dragged and dropped it, you can move it around by holding and clicking on it, or you can make the dimensions bigger, right? So if you look at these dots, the white and black dots allow you to make it bigger in the X and Y, and you can do it on top as well, making the height bigger and smaller. All right? So that's the basics of how to create the size of it. Now, you'll notice here you could also turn it, so you could rotate around all three axes. So if you look here, I can rotate around this axis, right? So I'm moving it left and right. Over here, I could do this one while moving it around in a circle, right? And then finally over here on the side, let's see if I can grab it. Yep, right there. It's kind of hard to see sometimes, but you can go and move it forward and back. So you can still rotate around all three axes like we do with AFrame. And then finally, you'll notice here, once if you wanted to move something up, well, you could just use this triangle, right? So I can go like this and move it up and down, which might be helpful. Like let's say I wanted to make a sphere and I want to put the sphere on top of the ball. I can go over here, move it here, and put it up and down. Now, sometimes you don't know if something's touching or not, right? So like to see if the sphere is actually on top of the ball, what I can do is manipulate using this. So right, I can see the different view, and I can see like, oh, I didn't actually have it touch it. So let me move this down a little bit. Let's take a look over here. And that looks like, okay, now it's touching it. Beautiful. Okay. Now, another kind of fancy thing you could do is sometimes you could actually carve out space using something called a hole. So let's say I took this shape right here, and you have these options. You could change the color of it, or you could turn it into a hole. That means like that part of the shape won't show up. So if I were to go hole, and then once again move this down, maybe I'll expand it a little bit. What I'm doing is I'm basically creating like empty space in that 3D shape. So if I go to the top view now, that would be like, maybe I'm kind of like making a little bowl or a cup with this method. All right, so that's the basics of how to use this. Now, obviously there's more shapes over here to explore, and there's many other things you could do with it, but these are the basics. Also, just so you guys know, let's say you do something crazy like this and you're totally lost in space, right? You're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? You could always bring this home button to get back to where you started. So that's a fun one to use. All right, now that you know how to use the software, the next part is to export it. So you see where it says export here? There's three different file types, right? Now, OBJ and STL, those are what my 3D printer used to print. So if I wanted to 3D print this item, I would export it in one of these two formats. Now, if you want to import it to AFrame, what we're going to do is we're going to import a GLTF file. All right, so we're going to click this. Okay, I'm going to call this example, and it downloads as a GLB file. Now back over here in TinkerCAD, you'll see that we have a basic 3D, A-frame set up with just a plane and a sky. If I want to use this shape and import it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop it. Okay, let me delete this one, that's from earlier. All right, and it's very simple. All I'm going to do is create a new A entity. Okay, and I'm just going to say GLTF-model equals, and over here I'll just say example.glb. So I'm just telling it I wanted to use that file. Press play, and you're saying to yourself, what happened? And you'll see here, if you go far enough out, see if I can, you can see that it's actually all the way up here. It's massive, right? And that's kind of not what I want to happen. So These TinkerCAD models, they import huge. So what we're going to do is we're going to first position it so it's easier to see. So I'm going to put it in front of me by doing 0, 0, -10. And then I'm going to scale it down a lot. And I just use 0.1, 0.1, 0.1 usually to start me off. And that should bring it into a normal size. So if you look over here, now I have a more normal size thing. It looks like my my cup might not be that great because it looks like you actually it's totally, I guess you can see through the bottom. Is that true? Let me see. No, I shouldn't be able to see through the bottom. That's not here, there. Point is I imported it, right? That's the important thing here. So I got my little cup imported. Looks great. I could make it smaller. You could even go like super small. So I'll do like half of that by doing 0.05, 0.05, 0.05. Remember, you could still rotate these things. So I could do rotation. It's still available to me. So I'll do, let's see, 90, 0, 0. So if I want to rotate it, that's possible as well. Oh, look, you don't see through the bottom. It is done like that. See, it looks perfect. I can, and that's it. So that is how these are done. Hopefully that is helpful to you. And that's how you export something from TinkerCAD. Now, if I wanted to 3D print this, just while I got you, you could always go to Export. I'll download the STL file. And since I have a FlashForge 3 for 3D printing, it's as simple as just clicking this. I'll get out of that for a second. Oops. I was printing a unicorn earlier for my daughter. But I'll try to show you how this looks. Let's go to here. What you do is just slice it up. Okay. Go over here. Let's see if there's anything. Yep. And I would just, honestly, if this wasn't here, I would just print it out from there. It's that simple. Really easy, right? All right. That is it for this lesson. Hopefully you learned a little bit about 3D printing and TinkerCAD and CAD software. All right. Peace.